Hello and welcome back to another reaction. In this occasion, My Hero Academia episode 14 of the third season. Last time, of course, we saw how they kind of integrate in their new life, in their dorm life. How every single room in said dorm is akin to the personality of each student that is inhabiting said dorm. As I mentioned in the last video, we saw kind of the bland personality of some of the characters because, yes, they really don't stand out at all. They are just kind of boring so far from what I can see. But those who stand out do it for a very good reason, and of course we are shown their personalities. So far, my favorite room is Jiro's room. I love that room, full of musical instruments, full of music, the colors. Oh, I love it. I really love that room. It's probably my favorite. My second favorite, amazingly, is Zero. Because yes, so far Zero has done almost nothing to stand out. It's just bland and boring character so far. Perhaps in the future we're going to see something amazing from him, but so far he has been kind of boring and really on the background. But his room is pretty neat. I wouldn't mind to have said room. And in the third place, I think I will say perhaps Todoroki's room. Kind of the Japanese vibe. Something I wouldn't like is the lack of a bed. I don't think I will be able to sleep on a futon, I think it's called. I don't think I will be able to. But yeah, the design of the room, the rest of the room, it's pretty neat. Yeah, of course, who won was the one who baked cake. And again, that earned a lot of points from the girls and from me, as I mentioned in the last video. But I think I spoke enough about this in the last episode, and this new episode is late enough for me to just be rambling about the other one. So yeah, let's just cut this and watch the episode, shall we? Oh, the opening! Okay, I'm gonna watch this several times. Okay. What the hell is that? What? What? Okay. Oh, okay, I noticed that detail. I need detail. Who are those guys? Who's that guy? Who are those guys? Okay, I like her. What? Okay, what is going on? Screw you, not you. Wait, is that Gang Orca? All Might. The immense shadow. Oh. I love how Thor can be in the front and not be a problem. Pretty empty. Oh, so he can create every single... Oh, this is neat. Man, why did you interrupt the amazing music, Ida? Yes, that is not just for attack. Yes, I agree. Yeah, of course. Yes. Okay, so it's a whole trend of everything. Okay, this is so cool. Oh, because he has the ultimate power, but not the ultimate move. That's true. It's not like All Might. Oh. Oh, he's reading him. Oh, that is okay. Oh, yes. Okay, yes, that is complicated. And everybody's trading like crazy, but Deku is standing there. Oh! I think he's looking for someone in particular. Yes. And this one is flying. He's loving this. Yes, exactly. Yes. But what is the plan? Oh, that is true. And that is what he's very good at. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Okay. He's study, which is good. And I love it. What the hell? What happened? What the hell was that? Yes! Natsume, yes, she's back! Yes, it's Natsume! Oh! Of course! Yes, of course! Oh! Okay, sure. Oh. Yes! Oh, this is so good. She doesn't care. I love her. That is, yes, that is also like magic word for her. What? 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 What is she doing? Yes. Okay. What? Number 49. What? Oh! Oh! Poor Deku! Yes! Of course it... Oh... What is wrong with me? Oh! What the hell? This is... Oh! Where was you? Wait, he had an epiphany. He had an epiphany now. Yeah, she is. Yes, that is something else. Oh, I just remember what everybody's saying. Actually make a bigger progress. Yes. Oh, like kind of an armor. That is neat. Oh, that is neat now. Yes, of course. He's one of the most advanced students. Oh, holy! Okay, yes, Bakugo is amazing! Yes! Oh! Yes! Oh! Yes! With the leg, of course! Oh! Yes! But you don't have to do that! Oh! Use the legs! Yes! Oh man, this is so cool! Yes! Of course, that is amazing! Oh man! Okay, such a great episode! We get a lot of moves, a lot of styles. It was pretty great! And we get a little bit more of the world. Again, I love the world building and an old character returning, which, to be honest, I love her during the freaking sports festival, and I love her right now. But yeah, I'm gonna watch this again, and well, be back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I just watched several times the episode actually, and I watched the opening a lot more times. So yeah, I was just constantly rewatching it and rewatching it so I can get almost every detail out of this new opening, because yes, it finally is here. I was really impatient because I knew it was coming. I knew that a new opening was obviously coming the way this series works. It usually has like 2 openings per season. I don't remember if it has 2 openings in the first one, but in the second one definitely it did. And yes, it's a lot more relaxed. It's less threatening, let's say. This opening is a lot less threatening than the last one. I mean the visuals that we had during the song, the original song. As always, when I edit this reaction, I'm going to mute the opening for obvious reasons, but I'm gonna keep the visual so I can, well, you can see my reaction to said opening. But yeah, let's start with just speaking about the opening. We start again. I am not a great fan of the entire costume, Midoriya's costume. I don't like the little ears that are on top, because yes, he looks like a kind of a rabbit or something like that. I am not a great fan of the mask. The rest of the suit looks fine for me. I'm not a great fan, as I said before, I'm not a great fan of the mask. But I love, again, the first frame that we saw from the opening is kind of a transition between All Might and Deku. All Might with his hair that is just floating or moving with the wind, but it transforms into one of the, well, I don't know how to call it, ears of the rabbit, because yes, it looked like a freaking rabbit, but transfer one of the things on top of the mask. And yeah, it's obviously that it's kind of a transition between All Might and Deku now. because All Might is just well gone. He's retired. He no longer can be a hero because he doesn't possess the strength to do so. And of course, we saw the rest of the students in kind of a weird pose. Everybody is kind of floating in the air with these lines above them and kind of screaming, kind of motivating themselves, except for 3 students. And those are what I consider the most powerful ones of the entire Class 1A. In this case, Bakugo, Todoroki, and of course Deku. Those 3 are kind of in their normal form, looking... I don't know where, but looking to some place. And yeah, those are kind of obviously the ones who are in the foreground. They are, of course, presented as kind of the protagonist of the series, because yes, Midoriya is the main character. There is no doubt about that he is the main character. But the other 2 are, of course, being establishing that they are the most powerful heroes in training, alongside with Deku. Deku has the advantage of the One for All, which is probably the most powerful quirk in the entire Boku no Hero Academia universe. So yes, I think it's even more powerful than the All for One, because he has been beaten by the One for All. So yeah, that is my opinion again. And the other 2 are pretty powerful. Bakugo with his explosions and the amazing control he possesses within his quirk. He knows what to do with his quirk, exactly what to do and how it must be used. Not only for attacking, but for mobility too. So yeah, Bakugo is an expert in his quirk and he knows how to use it. That's why he's so amazingly powerful. And of course, his quirk is a lot of help too. It's a very powerful one. And of course, Todoroki has one of the most powerful quirks, the combination of ice and fire. Because yes, as we saw during the, I think it was the 10th episode of the 2nd season, when he fought Midoriya, we saw the unbelievably amazing destructive power of his quirk. When he expand the air, or at least first he kind of lowered the temperature in the air and then heat it up so quickly that it expanded very fast, and that's why, well, it created this kind of explosion in there, alongside with, of course, the One for All that is unbelievably powerful. So yeah, that's why I keep saying that these 3 are the most powerful heroes in training that I have ever seen. Perhaps later on we're going to see a lot more powerful, I don't know. But yeah, these 3 are incredibly powerful. At least I can guarantee those 3 are the most powerful in Class 1A. That is something I can guarantee. The rest are below them. Some of them are quite close to them, but the rest are really below them. So yeah, anyway, yeah, we start like that, and then we saw kind of shadowy figures in kind of a type of a mountain that are threatening, but I don't know who are they, because it's not clear. We are seeing wings, we are seeing different types of quirks and different type of bodies. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. And I love, again, first we saw Midoriya standing alone in front of something, and it's kind of dubious, but the rest of the students are running towards said problem or said threat or whatever, but he's standing there. And I love the little detail that the only thing that Midoriya needed was a little push from All Might. First we saw the muscular arm with obviously the suit, the hero suit. But later on, when Midoriya started to advance, we saw the skeletal form of All Might, Toshinori. And I love, again, these kind of metaphors that are quite easily to read, that now is Midoriya's turn, is passing on, and now All Might, or Toshinori, let's call him Toshinori, is in the background, is just supporting his son, student. And yes, it's obviously, so far from what I have seen in this anime, it's All Might is almost the father of Midoriya, because yeah, it's kind of obvious. There is no father figure outside of Toshinori now and an All Might. So yeah, the only thing that is missing is he's adopting Midoriya and marrying the mom, Inko Midoriya. So yeah, it's kind of obvious that yeah, he's the father figure present, because yeah, the father from Midoriya is completely absent. I haven't seen him. I don't know how he is or his power, how does he use it. I don't even recall his power. No, I don't remember his power. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, we saw this little push that Midoriya kind of needed to move forward. I don't know why. And we saw several uses of powers in the opening, of course, from both sides. I recognize, of course, the power of ice and the power of explosion from Bakugo and Todoroki. But then we saw a kind of weird green smoke or something along those lines that is pushing Bakugo, and he's responding with explosions. And then we saw a guy with a cape, red cape, and then we saw more with similar clothes. What I assume this is a school, because that looks like a uniform. Because those are, and yeah, that is my deduction, that this is a school, another school, and I don't know what is going on with those, well, that new school. Perhaps we're going to see a new one, and rival for the UA, and yeah, those are the main students from said school. And by the way, I love that girl. That blonde girl looks amazing, man. I don't know who she is, but she looks beautiful. I'm starting to think I'm having a thing for blondes. Anyway, yeah, we saw more heroes or students, or I don't know what they are, because now I don't see them. I saw them in kind of hero costumes, but they look kind of young, so I am still not sure. And then we saw again the whole group, of course, with Midoriya in the foreground, but even in front of him I saw the head of Ida and, of course, Toru. And there was someone else. I think it was Todoroki while in front. So yeah, it is fascinating. We saw Ida, we saw Uraraka, kind of an interesting pose there. And then we saw something for a brief moment. We saw Aizawa and another girl. Who is she? I was going to say who are they, but I know who Aizawa is. Who is she? What is the business here? Because she seems to be calling Aizawa. I am still not sure. A lot of new characters. I mean, a lot of new characters in the opening. And of course, then we saw Shigaraki in kind of a throne made of, well, with fingers in the freaking behind of the throne. Kind of creepy. A creepy image, but we saw another two villains. We saw, I think it was Himiko, and we saw Twice. And those are the only villains we saw. What villains that we know of? So, I don't know what is the deal there. Why we only see these three villains, or three known villains? We never saw anybody else, or at least I didn't notice anybody else, unless we saw a new villain and I didn't notice. We saw, of course, Midoriya avoiding kind of some projectiles, which I don't know. And then we saw two Todorokis, Endeavor and Shoto. Again, it's the same pose. They have both the same pose, the same movement in the freaking opening. But of course, the flames of the Endeavor and kind of cold colors from Shoto. So I'm still not sure what to think about that. Again, perhaps it's the redemption of Endeavor from what we saw in the last few episodes, or well, in the few last episodes. That perhaps this is the beginning of the end of this crappy attitude from Endeavor. Perhaps, I don't know. Again, it's very vague, that. And then we saw Gang Orca again throwing something against the students, because yes, they're kind of avoiding and fighting, especially Bakugo and Todoroki, which are the two who are well, avoiding, the two that we saw avoiding said projectiles. I don't know what to think about that. I doubt Gang Orca is going rogue. Perhaps it's part of the provisional license test. That is my best guess. That this is going to be part of the provisional license test, and of course it's one of them. Because from what Aizawa said later on, it's not just combat. It's a lot of stuff later on. And then of course we saw All Might in his muscular form. And of course projecting the shadow, and the shadow is kind of going towards Midoriya and Bakugo. Yeah, it's a big shadow, but it's kind of a representation that they are the next new generation of heroes that are going to be appearing. And of course we saw Midoriya kicking something, and that should have been a guess for me, or a clue for me, of what his new movement is going to be. Because yes, Midoriya so far has been using just his hands, his arms, his fingers, every single part of his upper limbs, but never his legs to attack, other than to jump or avoid attacks, but never to do the attacking. But in the opening, we're seeing him kicking with wide intensity, and of course with the One for All activated. And the last scene is, of course, every students of the class 1A with Midoriya kind of in the center. And I love the little moment in which Toru's hands, because it's the only visible part of her, the hands and the feet, is kind of surrounding Deku. And of course, she's in the foreground, just in the front of everybody. But it's not much of it's not very noticeable because, well, she's invisible, so everybody is visible there. So yeah, a kind of interesting opening to be analyzed. There are a lot of small details that we can see happening here and there. But of course, it contains spoilers. Every single opening contains a certain amount of spoilers. The good thing is that you don't notice said spoilers the first time you see the opening. You understand them later on when you look it back and understand, oh, this is what it meant. Oh, this is what it meant. So yeah, there is a certain amount of the spoilers. I am not worried about that because I do not understand the spoilers. I'm just theorizing here. None of the information I'm giving is certain. Perhaps I was completely wrong and nothing of what I said is going to happen. Perhaps I'm completely right and everything I said is going to happen. Perhaps I'm half and half. So yeah, it's an interesting way to see how the next part of the season is going to go. So yeah, a good opening, and now we're going to enter into the realm of the episode. We of course we're treating in kind of a slice of life in the first few minutes of the episode. How the routine that you have to take in the dormitories. They of course sleep in every single one of the rooms, and the brushing of teeth. I don't know why they brush their teeth before eating breakfast. I usually eat breakfast first and then brush my teeth. But okay, sure, whatever. They ate. It's kind of a warm moment because everybody is having fun, or everybody's smiling, and yes, they're enjoying their life together in this little moment. Then of course the classes start. This is not kind of official classes. They are not doing math or any of the normal courses. This is still the summer vacation, but instead of course just relaxing, they are using the time to improve their quirks. That was the camp that of course went completely wrong in the first half of the season, and they are using the time now to create new ultimate moves. It's an interesting course because, yeah, they are using their free time, or what is supposed to be their free time, their summer vacations, to improve themselves. Why? Because they need to hurry. Thanks to the constant attack of villains, the new development in, well, the villain attacks, the new strategies they're using, and all of that, they need strong heroes fast, or they needed strong heroes fast. Now, with the loss of the symbol of peace, now that All Might can no longer fight, is no longer active, they need heroes a lot faster. Why? Because society is kind of crumbling for them in that moment. It's not as strong as they thought, because yes, the society, the hero society, it was as strong as All Might. Since All Might was this almost invulnerable being for the rest of the population, the hero society was strong because their freaking pillar, the main sustaining of this society, was All Might. And since All Might was so powerful that they did not need to be that strong, the rest. So some of them really lagged behind, and a lot of heroes that didn't deserve it My guess is that the tests weren't that strict before. They were kind of saying, oh, okay, you're kind of fast. Again, this is my mere speculation. Because, yes, we have All Might. So, yeah, you're going to be supporting All Might. So, yeah, it's okay. All Might doesn't need a lot of support. Just be there in case All Might is not. Or gain some time for All Might. That is the mentality I think they have. Now that All Might is gone, they see their mistake in their in their relaxing moments. Because yes, if they have built up a stronger society, you will have All Might, yes, the strongest hero of them all. But you will have a bunch of other heroes who are not as strong as him, but really, really capable. And below the top 10, I mean. The top 10, yes, I imagine those are incredibly powerful, amazingly strong, and of course, amazingly capable of doing whatever it needs to be done to protect the society. But the rest, I'm not so certain. So yeah, it was thanks to this kind of lack of appreciation, of lack of preparation, that the hero killer appeared, Shigaraki appeared, thanks to the plan of All for One, and the rest of the villains that were kind of powerful, that were afraid of All Might, start to appear, because now they have kind of a backup. And yes, since the fall of All Might, everything is starting to be weakening and crumbling. So yes, they need strong heroes and they need them fast. So they are accelerating the training of the one of the first years, and to be able to give a lot better heroes than before. So yeah, it is an interesting concept, and of course they need the support of other 3 teachers. Ectoplasm, to create the ultimate movements, they need of course Ectoplasm, they need Cementos, and they need Midnight. My assumption, of course, Cementos is to create the environment in which they could train, Ectoplasm to give them kind of dummies so they can train on, and not so much just statues that stand there in order to react and give advice to a certain degree. At Midnight, I am still not sure. Perhaps to restrain the movements and try to calm down in case one of their special movements goes wrong. My guess is that that's why Aizawa is there, besides being the main teacher of the class. And yeah, that is my guess as to why they choose these 3. And yeah, I need to mention something. Once they arrived at the Gamma Gym, I love the name they gave it, the TDL. And I love how they say, oh, I hope a certain mouse don't get angry with us with those things. Yeah. And I didn't cut that in the first, or even in the second viewing. I caught it until the third viewing, that yes, probably they mean the Disneyland or something like that. So yeah, I understand why they are afraid of the freaking mouse, perhaps the biggest villain of them all. Okay, enough about that. Yeah, so they have this training facility in which they can manipulate, or Cementos can manipulate the ground and create other structures so they can train quite easily, and perhaps to minimize the risk, because yeah, they are not everybody is close to everybody. And yes, I love again the reason as to why they have to create these ultimate moves. It's kind to stand out, to make you look even better, because yes, the heroes is not just combat. Heroes need to rescue people to natural disasters or man-made disasters, to clear buildings, perhaps collapsing buildings, so to rescue people, and to combat in case there is a villain. So yeah, they need to learn all these skills. So yeah, my assumption from what Aizawa said is that the test combines all of these aspects. Not just combat, but the rescue too, or the, I don't know, I think I recall the control of the victims or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. No, the words were draw people to you. Those were the exact words that they said. And yes, the abilities, I love how they just expand the number of abilities they need to have. The rescuing, the communication, the quick make decisions, everything around this test is just to see how well-rounded you are. It's not just the combat. Oh yes, you are very powerful. No, you need to know how to control a disaster, how to save victims, how to communicate with others. So yeah, it is a very difficult test because from what I have seen, some of them don't communicate that well, especially let's say the animal guy. He doesn't even talk, or not, he doesn't talk that much. So it is going to be difficult for some of them. Oh yes, for example, Bakugo. Bakugo has terrible communication skills. Man, that is going to be a sight to be seen, man. Okay, I cannot wait for that moment. Again, one of the silly moments in which Ida gets so happy because his Reciproc Burst is called an ultimate move, a complete move, because yes, and yes, it's true, it's kind of a winner card. The only problem is that he can only use it once, and he doesn't achieve his goal with that movement, with one movement, it's done for, he's done for. But yeah, I love the pride in him that, oh, it's an ultimate movement, it's so strong and so powerful that, oh, yeah. So, it's an interesting concept, the ultimate moves, because yeah, those are your triumphant cards. If you do this move, you're going to win no matter what. Yeah, it's very interesting the way they show us these. And of course then later on we saw everybody training like crazy with their own clones and trying to do their own movements. Of course, again, I'm sorry to call so much attention to this, to Ojiro in this case. Yes, even the creators of the show call upon this, that he is way too normal. He doesn't stand out outside of the freaking tale. Even he thinks that. Poor guy, really, he doesn't have anything to stand out. He's just the middle of the road. He's not that bad. He knows how to fight. He has movements and he knows how to use his quirk, his tail, which is pretty strong. But he's not that good to be considered a threat or a major threat, or his attitude is nothing to stand out. So yes, that is why he's so normal and so forgettable. Yes, he's not so bad that you will remember, oh, this guy is so terrible, but he's not that good to say, oh yeah, this is great. So yeah, that is the problem with Ojiro. He doesn't stand out at all. Hell, even Toro, who is invisible, she stands a lot more thanks to her attitude. She's so girly, so bubbly, so cute that yeah, go ahead, it's fine. You see her and you identify in some degree her attitude or her ways. Ojiro doesn't have that advantage. That's why I consider him one of the most bland and boring characters. But yeah, we move on to the rest of the class. Some of them need to improve their movements. And yes, even the small details, it just makes wonders. She does when she just make this kind of movement and she can just shoot acid with a longer distance with a lot more strength from what I have seen in the episode. And you're also trying to make two objects, even as simple as that. But she has improved a lot in that regard. She moves a lot faster, or the creation of these objects is a lot faster. The only problem, or the main problem here, is Midoriya, because he doesn't know what to do. He's so dependent on his arms that he doesn't understand so far how to improve them. Hell, even he was warned that he must not overuse his arms anymore because he's going to completely destroy them and not being able to use them anymore. So yeah, he's in this problem. And of course, All Might that arrives later on notice that. Notice that his favorite student, because yes, he's his favorite student, is having problems. So go immediately to help him and give some advice that yes, you are still trying to imitate me. And that is the only advice. And I love the way this works because Midoriya is so smart. He knows how to analyze stuff and knows how to think ahead. So yeah, he's given the responsibility to think about those words and the true meaning behind it. So he can figure out a movement of his own. He does not need to be depending on All Might because yes, he needs to depend on himself. Yeah, again, but we're shown that Bakugo is amazing at combat and just moving or using every single capability of his powers. And yes, again, All Might giving advice to some of the other students. And this is weird because All Might wasn't a good teacher. He wasn't. He was just kind of meh as a teacher. But I love how he's like, what the hell is he doing? My guess is, oh, he's doing fine now. Why? And then we saw the book that is basically teaching for dummies. That is basically the book. Without, of course, infringing copyright, because, yeah, that is correct. And yeah, it's it's fascinating that we saw the enthusiasm of All Might and the enthusiasm of the rest of the students. Everybody is doing their best so they can continue to grow as heroes. Then we saw how Midoriya is going to the development studio, in which, of course, they are going to develop new suits, or at least improvement of their old suits. And one of my favorite characters has returned. Yes, Hatsume Mei really stand out during the sports festival. She was so bubbly, but so eccentric, and oh my god, I love Hatsume Mei during the sports festival. And the small mentions during the test of the second season. So I love how she was reintroduced in this third season. Midoriya is about to enter this studio, and alongside, well, not alongside, Ida and Uraraka are right behind him, or at least a few meters behind. But in the moment he opened the door, a huge explosion happens, and I love how the image in this explosion is so casual. That is not a great deal, because and those smiles, and yes, they're worried. And of course, Power Loader is there kind of spoiling, scolding Hatsume Mei, which is on top of Deku. And Deku got a pretty clear view of Hatsume's upper assets, let's say. This, of course, brings kind of a jealous rage from Uraraka, or what I interpret as a jealous rage from Uraraka. Because, yeah, you want it or not, Midoriya is a teenager. A very shy teenager, a very, well, kind of quiet teenager, but a teenager nonetheless. So, yeah, you cannot blame him for kind of look at that and be kind of embarrassed by it. He is not Mineta. He's just this pervert. It's shy. And, yeah, the reaction, or his reaction, is kind of normal, let's say. And yes, of course, the next reaction, in which they are, all of them, they are standing up, and they are speaking with Mei, and yeah, Uraraka is still kind of mad at, I don't know, Hatsume Mei or even Midoriya. And Midoriya is just so shy that trying to look at her because, well, what he saw. But I love how Mei doesn't care. She doesn't even remember their names. None of them. She is just focused on her job. And even when Ida mentioned, just when Ida mentioned that he was used by her to sell all her stuff, is when she kind of remember some of that. So yeah, a very funny moment. Of course, we're given what they need. Midoriya needed kind of a reinforcement for his arms. And that's what interest really made when she returned her attention to them. And she started touching Midoriya, again, bringing kind of this desperation from Uraraka. Because she is not being discreet. And again, I don't think Mei's intentions are to just fondle him and just being, oh yeah, all that. No, I think her intention is just to measure what is need to be done for Midoriya. Of course, this doesn't change a bit that Uraraka is kind of jealous and Midoriya is kind of in shock. It's funny, and again, the freaking full suit that she used on Deku, which of course malfunctioned, and is almost cracking his entire back. And of course, seeing this, Ida is not that confident with Mei, and she's just trying to whisper into Power Loader I need this. I need cooling effect for my legs. But May, again, showing this, I don't know, weird aspect of her. Said, oh, you need this, then put on this. And this kind of new armor for him in the freaking arms. And he's just projected to the freaking ceiling and just staying there. And again, another back problem. And I need something to fix my sickness. And it's kind of a bomb in there. I don't know what the hell was May thinking in that moment. But yeah, we saw another aspect of her. Yeah, she's crazy, she's eccentric, but she's very dedicated to her job. She's as Power Lord say, she's not afraid of failure. She knows that she's going to fail perhaps 9 out of 10 times. But that one time that she succeeds is going to be worth the entire effort, because she's going to create something new. She doesn't have that prejudice of, being tied up to the conventions of stuff. And we saw that she's a first year. We knew that from the sports festival, because yes, it was first year, second year, and third year. And she appeared during the first year tournament or portion of the tournament. So the amount of stuff she has made in, I think I read 4 months, is unbelievable. And even Power Lord said, I'm sorry, I just remember the face of Ida when he was projected to the freaking ceiling. I'm sorry, guys, that I interrupt that, but I just remember that. It's hilarious. Okay, sorry about that interruption, guys. I really couldn't stop laughing for, I don't know, perhaps a full minute, because I just remember that face. And yes, I'm trying not to think about it because I'm going to start laughing again. But yeah, as I was saying, May is very skillful and very determined to achieve her goal. So yes, the amount of work she put on 4 months, it's a lot more than the work that perhaps all of the rest of the students of this course is putting. She is very special, and I guess she's going to be very successful in the realm of the support group. Very interesting. And yes, another point I've almost forgot. The way that Midoriya had this epiphany. When May was testing the freaking arms on Ida, she said, okay, you need to cool down your legs. Why don't you run with your hands? And that is what triggers something inside Midoriya. And this is when, in the moment he decides to use his legs as his primal weapon, let's say. And I love the way he clarifies, the way he thinks, the way that he remembers everything that needs to be reminded. How Gran Torino said that his admiration for All Might was kind of a shackle for him, the words of All Might himself that were said perhaps in the same day, and he asked Ida to teach him how to kick correctly. Because yes, so far he has been using his hands, and he's kind of accommodated himself to use his hands, but he has never used his legs in combat, none other than to avoid or to just move forwards or backwards. So yeah, it's a very interesting concept that we have here. That now Midoriya is going to evolve beyond what All Might has been doing. That All Might, of course, is using his arms, because that is perhaps what he was used to, that he trained most his arms. But now Midoriya is going to train his legs, thanks to the the precarious, the terrible state in which his arms are. So he's going to use another stuff there. His legs. And yes, I love the result, because in the last scene, we're seeing again the training. We saw other powers being used. Now that, for example, Tokoyami is using Dark Shadow as a freaking armor, and it looks freaking amazing. I love the way it looks. I love how Todoroki is using or trying to use both sides at the same time, the cold and hot sides, because I don't think he has been using both at the same time, one or the other, with the fight against the hero killer Stain, and I don't think he has fight in another one so far after that. Not that I remember of, at least. We are seeing, of course, Zero is not doing much, just pulling more tape out. Who else? Who else? I think I'm forgetting somebody. Oh yes, Shoji. He's trying to create multiple appendix in the same kind of arm or tentacle. The mouth, the eye, and the arm in the same freaking tentacle. So yeah, that is an improvement of his previous state. And of course, Kirishima hitting the freaking wall. And somebody that caught my attention was Suyu, because she was standing still, but kind of smoke was starting to appear in front of her, or what I think is a smoke. I am still not sure what her training is exactly, but seems interesting. Yes, we're seeing how everybody else is trying to improve their suits too, because we're seeing some other stuff. They're speaking with Mei, with Power Loader, and attaching some new stuff to her arms, to their arms, or stuff like that. The one that already caught my attention for all the wrong reasons was Mineta, because, and I'm going to be 100% honest, what he was holding in his hands looked like anal beads. And yes, why I make that connection? Because Mineta is a huge pervert. So can you blame me to think that? I know that is not the case. Those cannot be anal beads. Perhaps it's kind of a, I don't know, a whip or something like that. But still, can you blame me for something? So yeah, we're seeing different trainees in different moments. I wasn't going to say Mei. Ida is running around, and of course Uraraka is trying to hold her own bar, so you cannot, well, you know, project it. And yes, we saw again 4 days later the new and improved suit for Midoriya. I love the design of the suit. It looks pretty cool. Again, the only thing I don't like is the freaking kind of mask. I think it looks silly, and particularly I don't think it fits the character. That is me. Perhaps some other really like even the mask. I love their suit, not the mask. That's it. I disagree with Mineta that he said, "Oh, you really should have improved the basic design." But no, I think the design is pretty neat. And yes, we saw another movement that really caught my attention, of course, because it was really focused on. It was Bakugo's movement, in which he tried to project his explosion, redirecting it with just a single point, which of course is a lot more destructive in a certain point, because you reduce the expansive explosion and just concentrate like a laser beam in a small amount. So this provokes the breaking of a huge stone that was about to hit All Might. And that is when we first saw the great movement of Midoriya. He jumps into action with the full cowl, and instead of breaking it with his fist, he breaks it with his legs. And the sight was just enough to make All Might so proud of him, because now he's thinking outside of what he was. Now he's starting to move forward to be his own hero, not just a cheap imitation of All Might. No, now Deku is going to become Deku the hero, and that is something so admirable. I love that. And the really proud moment, I said, "Oh yes, now my son is doing progress again." And yes, I know I'm calling him his son, but yeah, can you blame me again? And yes, I love that movement. I love that moment. And yes, that moment when we saw the entire suit, that is now reinforcing just not in the arms but in the legs too, and it looks so cool. I really love that. So yeah, that is the entire episode, but I really need to speak about a few scenes. The first one is, of course, the moment in which we're speaking about the licenses, because now we're not going to be speaking about the hero licenses, which of course they're going to be used to protect people so they can use their powers to attack a villain and to protect the people that are around them. But I want to speak about the licenses for the kind of supporters. Because yes, Power Lord said I have a license to alter suits. And that is interesting because you really need to have these licenses to create all these suits. Because it's understandable. If you go and do something crazy, something dangerous for the rest of the population, or even for the heroes, you need to be held account. If you have a license, you're going to be easily located and you will be facing punishment. It's kind of a restriction movement. But of course, that gives the idea that if you're the best, you're going to make a lot less mistakes. And if you have a license, you are one of the best. That is what it's supposed to be, to avoid the accidents of the suits or to be avoiding the abuse of the suits. Because yes, if you make a suit that make you almost as strong as All Might, or make you project fire, or project ice, or even project explosions, if you are not a hero, you're going to abuse it, and that is going to be an edge for the villains. And they are trying to make as hard as possible for the villains to obtain the materials, because what I assume is that thanks to these licenses, you are able to obtain all the materials you need to make certain stuff. And you can do it on the open, and you are not going to investigate it, because yes, this is a company or this is a person that can do these modifications. So yeah, it's again kind of a world building around that. The other aspect I want to speak about is the way May behaves. She is, as I said before, eccentric. But I love her for that, because she's not a bland character, as I said before. She caught your attention. She is important, and she is intelligent. She caught your attention in the first moment, and that's why you are kind of attached to her. You pay attention to her because, oh yeah, she's fun. But once you start to see deeper and deeper and deeper, you find a better character. But if you don't caught the attention of the viewer, it's going to say, oh yeah, it's just like that, and you're going to ignore it. I have seen this from several other reactors, because yes, I watch other reactions, and nobody seems to remember Ojiro. Nobody. He's just that bland. And that is the main problem with Ojiro, that he doesn't call your attention. He's nothing special. His personality is boring. Even his power is kind of boring. Mineta called the attention because he's a pervert, because he has something else for him. Ojiro has nothing. So yeah, that is an interesting moment and an interesting question and an interesting episode. But anyway, yeah, I think I exhausted, and I really exhausted the topic of this episode now. The only thing I have to say, guys, is thank you for your comments, your likes, your views, and of course your subscriptions. If you want to be a subscriber, click on the button for subscriptions and on the bell so you can get notifications. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below. So yeah, guys, thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this reaction / commentary, and well, see you in the next one. Bye.